ॐ परतत्त्वे सदालीनो रामकृष्ण समागया यो धर्मस्थापनरतो वीरेशं तं नमाम्यहम्. So, dear devotees, uh, today we are going to conclude our this today's celebration, celebrating Swamiji's uh, Advent. This is 162nd birth anniversary of Swamiji. Yesterday I was talking about the ultimate goal of human life. That means the spiritual goal. That was yesterday again reminded of what Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna has opened our eyes once again, that God realization is the goal of human birth. All other goals that we set in our lives, they are temporary and they are different levels and different steps that we take for eventually and ultimately reaching that supreme goal of human life. That supreme goal, whether we recognize it and understand it now or we don't. Just like small children, they may not know many different things, but eventually they will become wiser and realize a better way to manage their own lives, to achieve their own individual success stories, which at the younger age, which when they are too ignorant about themselves and about things outside, they have no clue about, or they don't know, they don't understand. And their parents, they tell them and they try to help them. Similar is the case for individual being in the spiritual life. Mostly we are ignorant. Ignorant because we are infants in this path of spiritual progress or growing up. So, the God realization, if God is explained, too many times it has been told, there is no two things are available. Everything that you see in within yourself and around, it is only the different ways that the God itself is appearing. Whether you call it that God has manifested in many different forms, or say God is playing in many different ways, there is no two things there available according to the Vedic religion, the Sanatana Dharma, whether it is dualistic, non-dualistic, or qualified non-dualistic. In either ways, it is only one thing is said, that there is one truth and supreme goal that exists. It is called Satchidananda, and there is nothing outside that. Everything else that we say everything or many is out of our ignorance. Or as in the dualistic way it has been defined, that it is playfully God is playing with itself. As in the Vedic religion, it says that in the very beginning, when that supreme being, who is without any name and form, he was existing, then he wanted to be who, so that he would have a little more fun, because just being oneself, there was not enough fun, or it could not be enjoyed. This kind of expression, it is only for the sake of an expression of an idea which is beyond any human understanding. It is not really the whole explanation or the entire story of it, just to one way or other start the conversation so that the person at this level where we are standing, they could start moving forward. So many different ways the explanations are given, and that is one of them. That in the beginning, the Creator, who was just by himself, he said, I am just by myself, I am alone, and I am not enjoying this situation. So, ekoham bahushyam. Why? Because naramate, I am not enjoying, and therefore I want to be many. So, if that is so, then when individual being, as a human being, is struggling, then he or she is nothing other than God itself has manifested in that form. Then why he or she is unable to realize the truth of himself or herself, the reality that it is the divine being who is inside and also outside in all different forms? Why? The explanation as it is given in the Vedic religion is that on account of this mysterious concept which is called ignorance. Ignorance, which is only the power of that Satchidananda or Brahman. The Brahman has got its own fun, playful way of its own power, its own mysterious ability to create the covering, cover it, cover the knowledge of that which is created. So the created is not able to know the creator and not know that they are not two but one and the same. This division or distinction or separation is created, call it wall of separation or ignorance, call it a screen, or just call it ignorance, ajnana. That is just, it is the power of Brahman itself, and it is Prakriti. Many different names have been given. It is called Prakriti, it is called Shakti, it is many different names are given, but it is the power of that Brahman who has himself made this appearance possible. And the whole fun is about returning back to that situation of oneness, the one without a second. That realization is the whole game is about. If the spiritual journey is a kind of a game, it is all about the individual soul is trying to return to its own, the real nature, which is the supreme, changeless, blissful, eternal, deathless reality, beginningless and deathless. After realizing that, it will know that it was never ever changed. Until then, the individual soul feels itself as small, insignificant, ignorant, mortal, and helpless being. It thinks itself. But after realization of the truth, at the end of the tunnel or at the end of the journey, when it realizes its own true nature as the creator itself, then all the misconceptions or the ignorance about this separation or about one's own very degraded understanding of one's own self, it is all removed for good. Vidyate hridayagrantis chiddante sarva samsaya chiyante chasya karmani tasmin driste paravare. All doubts, everything will be gone. No question will be remaining in the heart anymore. Everything will be all problems solved and it will be for good. It will come to an end. So this is a kind of a game, a play from that complete blissful state of oneness. The individual soul has been thrown into a world of ignorance, helplessness, insignificance, and suffering. And there it is, the feeling or experience is that there is no way out from this situation where the individual soul will continuously be thrown into this cycle of birth and death and birth and death, and there is no way out. This kind of experience and this kind of helplessness, and continuously it is going through death and it is watching around itself, death all around and suffering everywhere. And it takes it for granted that there is no way I can escape this situation. From there, to reach again back to its own true nature of birthless, deathless, eternally immortal existence, blissful and all-knowing. That is the whole journey. How it is done, why this experience of ignorance remains in individual soul, and what is the way to go back to realization of the truth of one's own divine self. So today's talk is about what is the way, what is the practice to achieve that supreme goal of self-realization or God realization. In the Vedic religion, they say that for this, just like any kind of sickness or illness or any problem, you need to know the root cause of the problem. What has caused the problem? If you know the cause, then you can solve the problem. Why you are sick, if you know, then you can remove those causes. That is the how it could be treated, and you would be all right. So, what is the cause of this ignorance, this level of covering that holds us from understanding our real nature? So they say that the creation which is made from Prakriti, the material is Prakriti. It is loosely translated as nature, but which I am again and again saying that this is the power of that Brahman, Shakti. Brahman and its Shakti. There are only two things, and there is nothing other outside that. It comes within that Shakti area. Whenever it is other than the supreme reality, then it belongs to Shakti. Either it is Brahman or it is Shakti. If it is Brahman, then there is nothing exists. And if there is something exists, we start from there, we take it for granted that it does exist, world does exist. We do really exist with reality. It is true that there are many things there. When you say that, then we are accepting Shakti. We say that everything that we say that it is existing and it has got a separate identity, then it belongs to the fold of Shakti. Shakti has become like that. Shakti of Brahman, the Mahamaya, the power of Brahman. It has taken all these many different forms. They say that this Prakriti is of the nature of these three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. This satya, rajas, tamas, these three gunas or three qualities or three types of their appearances or their ability to perform, these three different qualities, they make Prakriti. Prakriti is of the kind of the nature three gunas. Trigunatmika Prakriti. So Prakriti or the nature, the Mahamaya, it plays with the help of its three different aspects. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. More the tamas, more deep darks and ignorance, and more the sattva, more light and clarity and understanding. More the tamas and rajas, more attraction felt in this created universe, less this tamas and rajas, more of sattvas and rajas, more attraction is felt for God, for realization of this self or truth. It is very clear when we see around us that not all people are equal. Not all people are equal. Many people, out of ignorance, they say that God has created everybody equal. It is not God has created everybody equal. Sri Ramakrishna has clarified the situation that as the divine spark within, it is equally existing everywhere. And it has got no difference. The spark of the divinity that is existing even in a small worm crawling on earth, absolutely helpless, far from the realization of its true nature, far, far, far. And a saintly soul, in both of these entities or individual beings, the spark of the divinity is equal. There is no difference there. So it is not that God has created everybody equal. No, no. This thing of the creation, and if we take into account of the everything, the body and the mind areas also, the physical body and the subtle body also included, and say this is created being. Then everything taken together are not equal. The saint and the sinner and a creature and a cat, they're not equal. And everybody can see that they're not equal. Their ability in all respects, physical, mental, intellectual, tendencies, all respects, they're different. But they're equal in the divinity area. That the divine spark is equally existing. Equally means of the same quality. The divinity within has no difference in the quality. They're same. They're equal in that area. But they remain different because of the difference in the manifestation in their other covering. Yesterday I was telling that there are three different coverings are there. We call three shariras. Sharira means body. In the Vedic religion, they say three shariras. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana. Sthula Sharira means the physical body, which can be analyzed by scientific means. Through all the different kinds of instrument, you can check it. Whatever you can see and smell and taste and feel and touch and all these five senses, as far as the five senses could go and touch it and sense it and experiment with it, find out what is there. As far as the five senses could go, they belong to the fold of Thula Sarira. All sorts of scientific experiments, they could be done on physical body alone. You may say, what about the mental body? That belongs to the subtle body area. The mind, the intellect, the sense perceptions and all these things. You cannot create a device through which the mental activity is measured number and meter, any kind of color or something separating. You cannot. These are not, cannot be touched. The subtle body area, they cannot be touched by our sense perceptible instruments. There is a whole lot of study has been done, no doubt about it, whole lot of study. But those studies are about comparing experiences of one with another. The subtle body area is the place where experiences are felt. Experiences cannot be absolutely counted and measured. Experiences are comparable. So through the data collected of large number of individual beings, as the experiences, they have themselves expressed what is the experience. Outsider cannot know. You can say that I am sad, I'm sorry, I'm very happy today. You can say so, but nobody can exactly see how much happy you are, how much sad you are. You have to explain, and that explanation is your explanation. And with the data collection of many people saying their experiences, people can have some kind of a approximation, and there it ends. Yes, it gives us a way to have some kind of a better understanding or clarity, but it is not absolute. The subtle area is not measurable in that sense. And then there is a causal body. Causal body is that spiritual body which starts when even the subtle body ends. Subtle body is the area where we know that we can see dreams. We can create a dream world. We can create a dream world where pleasure and pain and fear and anger and all these experiences are possible. This subtle body, which is created out of the subtle instruments and organs within us, the senses, the ability to intellectually process things, analyze, intellectually, figure out pros and cons and come to a conclusion. We call it buddhi factor. The mind which continuously is oscillating between many, many different thoughts and ideas. Conclusion area is buddhi, the ego, which connects our all these three different levels of our existences with some out of our reach, our true self. Some kind of a connection is made, and that helps us feel ourselves somebody different from everybody else. The I consciousness. I'm not saying the ego of a very crude kind, but very subtle ego, which stays alive till the end of the dream level of our existence and beyond, where it is not visible. Causal body goes beyond the subtle body. Causal body is the area where the spiritual experiences happen. And therefore, for ordinary people, they cannot they cannot have the experience of causal body so easily. Causal body is the area where even spiritual experiences might happen while a person goes into deep sleep. Occasionally, we read some such mm, uh, information or story that someone gets spiritual guidance and advices, and they are then verified by someone like Sri Ramakrishna or someone, and they say, yes, what you have received, that is right and correct and true. Somebody receives a mantra or has a vision, even going into deep sleep, and that happens in the causal body. It is in the causal body when a person goes into deep meditation and enters into a higher level of existence. But these three different levels of one's own existences, these existences are called three different bodies. The physical body, the subtle body or psychological body, and the spiritual body or the Karan Sharira, causal body. All three of them, they are created out of the Prakriti at very different levels of their subtleties. Though, according to Sankhya philosophy, they say that everything is Prakriti has appeared itself in the form of five basic particles called Tanmatra. Shiti, Apa, Tej, Marut, Vyom. These five different elements are there, and these elements, they also have appeared from its very, very causal state when the creation was not there, but it was about to explode in the form of the created universe level to this level of very materialistically visible universe. These five elements, they all along, they appeared from a very, very causal state, invisible, unthinkably small, unthinkably immeasurable to very much measurable materialistically. There's step by step how they happen, panchikaranam, etc., are told. But the point is that all these five basic elements with which the entire Prakriti is made of, which is the screen that separates the individual soul from realizing the truth of one's own real or Brahman or God. covering is made of Prakriti. This Prakriti is made, all these basic elements, five basic elements, each one of them, they are made of this three different aspects within it, three gunas, three different qualities, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. And everything is a play of these three gunas. If we have this clarity within us, then we shall be working harder to make our material with which we are created. We cannot change the world. We cannot change the creation. We cannot change the God's fun play going on from the entire created universe and all sorts of created creatures and individual being and human being and many different kinds of human being. Some are saintly, some are very cruel, and they are vicious, and some are many different. Very selfish to absolutely unselfish. All these things. We cannot do any change here. It is just beyond our power, authority, capability, even understanding. What we can do is that we can try to manage the material with which we are created individually, from physical level to subtle body level to causal body level. All the spiritual practices that are given, all the advices, instructions, these are actually given to do exactly that thing. There are many different advices in the world. There are so many different kinds of faith, different kinds of religious practices are there, and mostly they are very exclusive in their mind. At least they think that that is the only thing available or possible or right. Everything else, they're ignorant, they don't know, they are wrong. If not outright, they are playing in the hands of the devil and Satan. There are people everywhere saying so many things, but the Vedic religion, they don't say that. They say, no, no, whoever saying whatever, okay, is okay. Yesterday I was telling that inadvertently all creatures, all humans fall into the stream that will take the soul to that ultimate goal eventually, even without their asking for it. That is going to happen. But those, therefore, those who are following any other faith, any other religion, any other belief system, they're fine. They're fine. And Sri Ramakrishna used to say that who are you to ask this question that who should go? God is also the father and mother and friend and guardian and caretaker of that person. So he knows better. You don't have to worry about others. If you could help somebody, it is fine. Otherwise, don't try too hard to tell people that they are wrong and they are mistaken. You don't need to do anything. Take care of yourself. You have to do a whole lot of things for yourself now. And what is that whole lot of, as I tried to develop this topic today, that we have to do this, that we have to manage the combination of this raw material with which we are created. Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic aspect of raw material. Basically, it is the five basic elements, but each of those basic elements, they are having these three aspects or three tendencies, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. And therefore, if we are informed enough about and we are convinced about this thing, we know how it is working and we know how it could be handled and matched so that our tamasic aspect of our individual life that gradually will be left behind, and more first Rajasic and then Sattvic qualities be improved in our these coverings, physical, mental, and causal body. How is that done? This is another question. Vedic religion, they say that there are four different major ways that a human being lives their life. They are emotional, they are intellectual, they can go deep within themselves and think deeply on one particular thing, and they can be very active. They have got four aspects in their personality. Everybody has got them, but it is not same. Some people are more emotional, some people are more intellectual and emotion free, apparently. Some people can be very deep contemplative. Some people can be very active personality, tirelessly working, and that suits that personality. But most of the people, they have got all different areas within themselves, and accordingly, the four major paths have been devised, and they called yogas: Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Raj Yoga or different name has been given that. That is yoga. The major book is Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. That is one of the books. That is not the only book. But four different paths have been given. And those different paths, they are nothing other than helping us to realize that what we should do to make ourselves a little cleared off, cleansed off the tamasic aspect of our lives and made it a little more sattvic, little more rajasic, and then sattvic. This happens step by step. Nothing happens overnight. When we say that and we read from some stories of some individual magical, miraculous transformation of great saintly personality, how it happened, then two things are said. That one is that their previous past many different good karmas had suddenly started uh, uh, producing fruits that we don't know, neither they themselves knew. Previous many births of many good karma or intense spiritual practices which were somehow hidden suddenly opens up the some kind of a opening, and all those good karmas, they start producing fruit, and therefore the person appears to be suddenly transformed. Some very unbelievable stories are there of some saintly personality. At the time it is because of a major event of extraordinary grace factor of some great divine personality. It is like removing the block from the road that was stopping the vehicle from moving forward. It was not in the power of that person, but a very strong man came and he said, okay, I am going to help you, and he removes the block. This kind of thing also happened, but for most of the people, it is about step by step, gradually progressing. When it comes to the Vedanta way, which is very much non-dualistic approach, of realization of one's own true self, then they say that you must have these four different areas where you should be already a little bit developed a person than most ordinary people. What are those four different things that you must have to start? Like starting a business, you must have some capital with you, without which, how would it start? Beginning even is not possible. So these four different valuable aspects in human being, according to the non-dual path, Vedanta, is Viveka, Vairagya, six spiritual qualities called Sama, etc., Samadhi, Shat Sampatti, and a desire for liberation. Unless and until you have a desire for liberation, nothing is going to happen. Even if you are a otherwise very qualified person that could have moved into the path of spiritual progress comparatively effortlessly, nothing is going to happen because you are not asking for it. You never uh, showed any interest in it. It's called mumukshutva, desire for liberation of the soul. First is to have the clarity in mind about what is the what is the true and what is the false aspect of things, what is real and what is not. This world is not real because it is not going to stay forever. As you saw today, I was doing puja and then to get up, I was struggling. Many of you, when I came here 20 years back, you were very strong and very capable of doing so many things. Now you are not. So everything here, which is of the nature of the physical nature, this physical body and this world around and all these things, they are so temporary. They are, today it is here, tomorrow it is gone. Some of these people whom we knew, they were very, very active members here, very helpful, wonderful people. They are already gone. And others are on way to, etc., etc. These are temporary. Everything is temporary. This is not going to last forever. Not only not last forever, even we don't know how long it is going to last. All things in this world. And that includes not only the physical body, but many different things that we do as very valuable to us in our life. Even those which are not tangible, like a good name and fame or somebody, something, many different things. Realization of the what is real and what is temporary. Real means that which will not change, which will be there. Like they always remind us that God is your true friend and he will be always there when you need him. What does that mean? It means that he is not going to change forever. He will remain as it is. And he was there thousands of years back, just like he is now. Or the Brahman, or the Satchidananda. The reality is only that. That is the real. Real means that which will not change. Changeless, eternally existing, and that only is real or with a value attached to it. Everything has got the other side of the meaning. It is not real. To have the clarity in head is a very important and basic practice of Vedanta. Real unreal. Whatever is understood as unreal, slowly, slowly giving up them from one's own heart. Giving up how? Oh, should we throw them out of window? No. The attachment, the strong bond that we feel about them. Missing them is so painful. Getting them is making us very excited and happy. This is attachment, slowly reducing the attachment and having the attachment with God alone. This is called the Nityanitya Viveka Vichar. And then not asking anything which is of the temporary nature for the sake of our enjoyment. It is called Vairagya. Ihamutra Phalabhoga Viraga. Iha means in this world, Amutra means after life. Nothing asking because it will be enjoyable. In the sense of more enjoyable, nothing is to be thought after as desirable thing. When that comes to the mind becomes more moving towards sattvic nature. I'm talking about how you transform your mental makeup. Less tamasic, more sattvic, how it is happening. More we are clear in our head and our resolution of attaching value and reality to the divine. If we can do it, then we have better viveka or um, discrimination is the word used, but discrimination is mostly used for bad names, that you should not discriminate. Here it is a spiritual discrimination. What is valuable? What has got real value? So long as we have real value always attached to things of the worldly nature, we have got tamasic quality in our makeup, and we are bound here. When we don't put real value there, we have the internal clarity and therefore the discrimination between real and unreal. This makes God alone real. Then we are moving away from our tamasic aspect of our material with which we are created, and we are moving towards sattvic nature. This is called viveka. And vairagya, as I mentioned, when we are not asking, desiring, longing for them that have got those temporary tag attached to them, that they have got expiry date. When we are not longing for them, seeking them, then it is called desirelessness. It is desirelessness is not like immediately somebody will be cleansed of all desires. It is about you are not seeking and longing for them. Things will come and things will go away from you, and you are not very worried about them. You are living your life and you're fine, but more you attach real value to God alone, more you will be not attaching value in the worldly things and worldly achievements, and then you are not seeking them. This is called vairagya. Vairagya is not that immediately you just wear a gerua cloth and walk out of your homes. Vairagya is a mental quality, transformation, purification of the mind. Mind is not deeply attached to the world, and mind is not absolutely hungering for the world. That is Vairagya. Viveka is one, Vairagya is another. Yaha amutra phalabhogam. We are not seeking anything that after death we want to go to heaven or anything. Amutra means that another word. We are not seeking anything. I am doing good thing because I'll be given better treatment after death. No, I am not asking anything, better treatment. Better treatment, those who are asking for better treatment or a heaven, they are actually trying to prolong their earthly pleasurable existence. That's it. That is Vairagya. And then Samadhi Sat Sampati, Samadhamma, uh, Uparati Titiksha Shraddha Samadhan. These are the Sama and Dhamma, etc. They have got some kind of a similarity with the Yoga Sutra. Many of you have studied Yoga Sutra or listened to about it. The Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, 8-step path of yoga called Ashtanga Yoga. And the first two, Yama and Niyama, they are five spiritual qualities that have to be practiced. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Parigraha is one. And Sauch, Santosh, Tapas, Swadhyay, Ishwar, Pranidhana is another cluster of spiritual qualities that one should be practicing. They come in the yogic system of purification of internal self. But in the Vedantic way, the Dhamma, Dhamma, one is called the control over one's senses, another is called control over one's own mind. Samadharma, Uparati means bringing back your mind from wherever it is. Titiksha means remaining in your spiritual path, whatever comes. Even if you are not in a very pleasurable or very desirable situation, you are not complaining. Sahanam sarvadukhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam ta satitiksha nigadyate. That is the definition of titiksha. Bearing with everything, bearing with your life. Whatever comes, you take it very sportingly and live your life. Don't complain, and you are fine. You are not asking for pleasurable life system. You say, whatever comes to me and I take it. I live my life. I'm not complaining to God. I'm not praying to God to get me rid of all these things like that. I am only asking for one thing, and that is liberation of the soul. Liberation of the soul or the moksha. That is the only thing that is in my heart I am asking. Everything else is my spiritual practice, my disciplined life. I have taken the vow of living this disciplined life and not taking a wrong step anywhere, which would bring me back into this complex cycle of birth and death, tied down with much stronger bonds. Let me stay put on my own path and bearing whatever comes in the process that is called titiksha. Of course, this titiksha, when we define it for a person who lives in a monastic life or a life of a renunciate, that is much more intenser. But for ordinary spiritual seeker, titiksha is about never complaining to God, never asking for pleasurable experiences in the life, and bearing with one's own life and saying that this is nobody is responsible for it. Whatever comes to me, uh, it must have been my deeds in the past that is now uh, coming to fruition now. So that is called titiksha. And then Shraddha, Samadhan. Shraddha means having full faith in the teaching of one's own guru and the scriptures. Those of you who are reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna or Holy Mother's teaching or Swami Vivekananda's teaching, etc., which are the scripture of the modern age. Having full faith in them and living one's own life by that. This is called Shraddha. This is called faith. And Samadhan, mind to be brought back to one's own self and have in one's own real true self within the meditation. These are the process, these are the qualification. And as I mentioned, that it all begins with first to be able to analyze between what is real and what is not. And then giving up the hankering of things that are unreal, things that are unreal. And everything that belongs to the material world is like that. Unreal in the sense that they are not going to stay. They will come and disappear. And then all these spiritual qualities, as I mentioned, samadamo paratitidiksha shraddha samadana, and the real genuine desire for liberation of the soul. This is the way spiritual practices have been prescribed in the Vedantic way, Vedanta system. We mix up with so many other things. We bring into yoga, we bring what Buddha has said, and all sorts of things. They are helpful, no doubt about it. They could also inspire us. Many of them might coincide. So. But the Vedanta way of purification of our own self, and purification means slowly and gradually removal of the tamasic aspect of our personalities so that nothing will remain vacuum. These three gunas, they will not be vacuum. If the tamasic aspect becomes less prominent, sattvic aspect will fill it up there. So how to reduce tamasic nature within us, things that are visible, things that are not visible. The physical body, then the psychological body, and then the causal body. Many different things are not visible. We cannot trace them, we cannot so clearly see them. But if we can stay put on these disciplines, then slowly our tamasic natures will go away. More and more sattvic nature will come, and in between rajasic nature also will play its role. And eventually we shall enjoy living a spiritual life. In the beginning, it appears that the practice of spiritual disciplines, it is strenuous, it is tiresome, many different ways people can think like that. But those who could make their personality more sattvic by strenuous practice of spiritual disciplines, they eventually start enjoying living spiritual life. Spiritual life is not about just a dry discipline. It is about enjoying. And when people are more sattvic in their personality, they enjoy being spiritual in all aspects of their life. When they become very sattvic personality, not only that they will enjoy their life, living a truly spiritually enlightened person, people who live in their contact, their known people and their friends, they also are benefited. They also like such a person. And their life also are slowly affected, transformed. So they do wonderful thing in the world. Those who can do some good to their own self.